Good afternoon, folks. It's wee Paddy back again, and I've got another wee video for you today. And it's my one of my favourite days. Is two for Tuesday, much like my three for Thursday. It's just a chance to show some of your knives. Doesn't matter if they match or if they've got any connection. It's nicer if they have a bit of connection or a story to tell. But it doesn't matter. Show anything. Doesn't matter whether they're locking, slip joints, friction folders. Just get them up. And it's just a chance to show maybe knives that you don't show that often. And today I picked two of mine. Yeah, as you know, if you follow me, I love collecting the older knives. And I have a couple of drawers full of little older knives there that, are a value. They're not of any great value. To me, they're just something I love taking out. And they're like a little worry stone to carry if you carry any of them. They're, usually the older knives, especially the little boys' knives, pen knives, around this 3 to 3.5 inches size. They've got fantastic carbon steel on them, and when you put an edge on them, they are so sharp. And they carry as a secondary knife, they're amazing. So this is two that I'm going to show you. And what I'm also going to do on a two for Tuesday is give a shout out to two new channels. And today I'm going to put up a bit of paper here. So get a pen, pause this, get a pen. And here's two channels that I think you'll really enjoy. One is Rasputins Castle and the other is Randy's WSG. Now, they're both newish channels around. They're about 500 subs, somewhere around there. Two great fellas. You'll really enjoy their content. Rasputins Castle has an amazing selection of older knives. Really fantastic. And I have to say, I really got addicted to his way of going. He's a very gentle, easygoing man. And the same as Randy. Just get over, see Randy. He's got a lovely channel and he has a range of all sorts of knives. So that's them two boys shouted out. Let's get on with the main part of the show. Now, the main part of the show is two. I'm going to start with this one. This is a George Wolstenholme IXL. And this is what was generally known back at the early part of the 20th century, I should say, the 1900s, the early part of the 1900s. And these were called dime knives because they're just stamped metal with, a pivot, a larger pivot going through there and two pins, and that was it. They were just stamped out and made, and they called them a dime knife because right up until the 1930s, they cost a dime to buy in the States. George Wolstenholme's obviously from here, and he made and would have sent knives over to the States. There you go, you can see. Oh, let me just see if you can see. There you go. It's George Wolstenholme, Sheffield, England. Still down there. Now, I have given this a slight clean up, but I don't do a whole lot to them because I like to keep this patina that's on them. Would you believe, like, this has been scrubbed? This was nearly black, and this was fairly blacked out. So, but it's still a lovely knife. I haven't put an edge in this yet, and I think I'm actually going. I was sitting thinking today as I was fingering through my knives that I'll put an edge on both of these and start carrying them as wee secondary knives because it's still, listen, still great snap on it. Just the perfect size of a little secondary knife to pull out. That is certainly not going to scare anybody. It's a lovely, lovely, and there's still plenty of blade left. And honestly, these wee carbon blades, you see when you put an edge on them, they become razors. This has got a tiny edge. I must have put a wee edge on it when I first got it. But it can get a fresh one, and I'll maybe start carrying that one, and we'll see that on Instagram, hopefully. So, again, this is George Wolstenholme made knives for quite a long. The company made knives for a long time, but this is the early part of the 1900s when he was taking his wares over to the States. He was a big concern, especially coming from a little small place like Sheffield, England. He really did set himself alight when he went over to America. And at this time, the George Wolstenholme and one of the other companies that people sort of forget they were about them was Boker. Boker done a lot of this type of knives as well, and they imported them over to the States, exported them to the States, I should say. So there were big companies about that are still going today. This is just, honestly, I think this is probably one of the favourite ones I got. It costs next to nothing. I got it off Etsy when they used to sell knives on Etsy over here. Now it's few and far between. They've put such a clamp on them. It's not worth the dealers trying to sell them because they're charging them so much. This is a little pen knife. That's a little jackknife. The jackknife has one blade. This is a pen knife where they come from either end, one blade from either end. And this is just a little honey. And a little honey in two ways. One, it's just a gorgeous little honey, but look at the bone on this. Look at that jigging and the bone. That is just absolutely stunning. This is the colour I love of my older knives. It's just, it shows the richness and how people have touched them, and it's probably changed colour a lot from when it was new. It's probably darkened down quite a lot. I just think, and back in the day, this would have been called bone stag. It's what they sort of call this type of knife. I mean, this is made by Chattaraugus. Let me see if I can get this. This one's not quite as clear. Oh, there you go. Chattaraugus. It's from Tuna Valley, something like that, in New York. They were made. An absolutely stunning knife. And Boker has a very similar one around this period that looks nearly exactly the same as this. I love these little end caps. It really is. This is what you would call, I think this, no, it's not equal end. No, it's not. I thought it was equal end. Maybe a sleeve board. I should have checked that up. But it is just beautiful. And this lovely thin shield. Honestly, I could stroke this all day long. And you can see where the pins were hand pinned. They're not as nice and tidy as our modern day hand pinning or the later part of the centuries they're turned into, but they're beautiful. There's nothing sticking out now. The years old, even the pins would have wore down with touch. But these beautiful little end caps, the detail to do this by hand, isn't it just gorgeous? That is just absolutely beautiful. Look how well the blades are set in there. The workmanship that goes into something like this, the money you're ever going to get for something is never going to make up for the workmanship that went into these wee knives. They were just beautiful. Look how tight that is after all these years. I would say these are about 100 years old. And, I wonder how many of our modern knives will last, 100 years and still have that snap. But to me, it's not even the snap. It's just the joy of holding something and think, I know I say this every time, and it's true, you get something and it takes you back to that era and you think about who had it. This is a really posh knife. This is a dime knife. But yet, for a collection piece, they're both fantastic. But they both had, this was probably a more well-off person, and this was obviously the cheaper version for your everyday man about 100 years ago. How lovely is that? You can imagine a little boy getting his first knife, one of these, and this is what his dad would have carried. And they're in that boy's knife kind of size, which is 3 to 3.5 inches, are commonly called boys' knives. But, the history of these, that's what keeps me coming back to this blooming hobby. I love this. So I think on Tuesdays from now on, I'm going to show 2 of my older knives and put them together, and what information I can find out, I'll put it down. But Chattaraugus, it's a funny video. Chattaraugus was a company that sold thousands upon thousands of knives. But when they can when they're kept well, look, they'll last you a lifetime. I mean, that is a couple of lifetimes old. So's this. And this is a stamped out piece of metal, and, a little blade stuck in between it. There's nothing complicated in this. This would have been handmade completely. And the bone jigged by hand. Just, I just love them. These get me every bit as much as all my super expensive knives. These still turn me on, and I enjoy them immensely. I hope you do. I hope you like seeing them, and I hope from Tuesdays, I've got a stack of them, so it'll do quite a few Tuesdays. We'll do some of our older knives and show them out. But please join in, and don't forget the 2 boys that I shouted out, 2 great fellas, Rasputins Castle and Randy's WSG. That's it. I'm gone. 2 for Tuesday, Tom at Knife Delights. Thank you very much. Great challenge, and I'm looking forward to the next few Tuesdays and getting some of my older knives out to you folks, and I'll see you then. It's cup of tea time. Bye bye now.